3 days after being arrested for leading nonviolent protests in that city. He had nothing to pass the time except for the local newspapers, one of which ran an open letter from several white clergymen urging patience and faith and encouraging blacks to take their fights for immigration out of the streets and into the courts. That preacher wrote a response to those white clergymen in the margins of that newspaper. It was Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail, one of the most powerful and moving pieces of writing that I have ever read. I believe every student in America should read it and truly understand what it meant for the fight for civil rights in our country. The letter ran almost 7,000 words and eloquently made the case for nonviolent civil disobedience, precisely because state and local governments continue to drag their feet in integrating both schools and communities, and the judicial path would take too long. This was 9 years after the Supreme Court ruled that segregated schools violated the Constitution, but most African Americans were still isolated in their own classrooms. As all of you here know, many still are today, and we must work together to change that. The Birmingham letter explained why blacks could not wait for judges across America to hear their cases and to issue their rulings. Just as Dr. King and blacks said they couldn't wait any longer for justice in 1963, our nation's children can't wait any longer for educational reform today. A few statistics tell the story. 27% of America's young people drop out of high school. That means 1.2 million teenagers every single year are leaving our schools for the streets. What prospects do they have? About 40% of Black and Latino students drop out at a much higher rate than white students. Recent international tests in math and science show our students trail their peers in other countries. For 15-year-olds in math, the United States now ranks 31st. 17-year-olds today are performing at exactly the same levels in math and reading as they were in the early 1970s on the NAEP exam. And just 40% of young people earn a 2-year or a 4-year college degree. The United States now ranks 10th in the world in the rate of college completion for 25 to 34-year-olds. A generation ago, we were first in the world, but we're falling behind. The global achievement gap is growing. What does that mean for our children? For our country. Perhaps the most telling statistic of all is the achievement gap. For generations, the achievement of African American children has been below that of white students. That gap has its roots in our society's racism, dating all the way back to slavery.